Welcome back, Rock Movers. This is season 6, and it is all about the boys. We've got some amazing guests, so if you're ready, let's start moving some rocks. Hey, welcome back, Rock Movers. Today's guest is going to help you move some rocks in the world of podcasting, because here at the Rock Movers, we love all things podcasting. We love these conversations, but we all want to work smarter, not harder, at getting our message in front of the right people, because really it's about the mission. And Adam Torres is all about the mission. He founded and hosts Mission Matters, which is a series of podcast shows ranked in the top 2.5%. And I don't know if you know this, but there's over 3 million, probably closer to 4 million today, because they're just popping up all the time. But there's over 3 million podcasts globally. So as the co-founder of Mission Matters, a media, branding, and book publishing agency, Adam is dedicated to amplifying the voices of entrepreneurs, entertainers, executives, and experts. He's an international speaker and author of multiple books on business and investing. He also comes from the finance world, just like your host here. And his advice is regularly featured in major media outlets such as Forbes, Yahoo Finance, Fox Business, and CBS, just to name drop a few. So without further ado, let's dive right into the conversation. And I just want to welcome Adam Torres. Thank you for coming on the Rock Movers and just dropping so many nuggets of wisdom. I know that's going to happen today, so we're grateful.
Hey, thank you so much for having me, and big shout out to the Rock Mover Nation out there. So I love to hear that, and I love the even the movement and the wording Rock Movers. I'm in. Let's move some rocks today.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait, because I love what you're doing. It makes so much sense, but it's not just second nature for everyone to think of what we do in the realm of media marketing. And so today, if you're open, which I know you are, because this is your world, but I'd love to dive into those crazy rocks that we run against when we are out here trying to get our message heard. And our mission is to really just promote the things that we know and that we're good at, which is not promoting ourselves.
Yeah.
Like I'm a great coach. I know I'm great at the things I'm great at, but the things I'm not great at, how do I build those bridges? So I'd love to cover that today if you're open to it.
So I'm a huge fan of doing that, and one of my goals, and the reason why I do this, is because I want to inspire other people to start their own shows, whether they start with like an agency like ours and professional production or things like that. Great, but if you don't have that budget, if that's not even in your vision yet, no big deal. When I started my first show, I did the first 300 episodes on an iPhone.
Oh, wow.
And it also wasn't edited. So I have on brand new AirPods and all that good stuff, noise cancellation. Even that is kind of a step down. I'm traveling. I'm in Miami today. And we were celebrating the birthday for the Reebok founder. He turned 90 years old.
Oh
And
my
what
gosh,
a
how cool.
Oh, it was amazing. And what a privilege to be able to be there with him on his birthday and to hear that story and to see that legacy. And that's an example of something that podcasting has brought to me. Like the doors it's opened, what it's allowed me to do. It's just unbelievable. But if you're out there and thinking of starting one and you haven't, you don't have to look at somebody that's polished or, oh, they've done thousands of episodes or they've done this or they've done that. No, you just get started. You launch your first one. My first one took probably all of 10 minutes to launch, just throwing that out there. And I was terrible. I didn't even know what a podcast episode was. I thought it was a phone recording of me. And then I told the other co-founder here, Chirac Cigar, I said, hey, we're going to record that. And we upload it. That's a podcast episode. And he's like, sure. he knew he'd get me hooked, but he just said, sure.
Sure. Yeah. Well, that's a start. It's not an episode, but there is such a spectrum of podcast options today. I mean, you can do it as simple as on your phone or on Zoom and, put it up there unedited, or you have, as you said, an agency that can produce it and everything in between. So for
Yeah.
someone that they've already got a podcast, let's say they've started it, maybe they're hitting their
Yeah.
20th episode. So they're kind of like, okay, we got
Yeah.
kind of got a rhythm. I know a little bit more now.
Hmm.
Or we could use me as an example. I just launched or published my 100th episode. So
Congratulations.
hit 100. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I've learned a lot. I haven't been super consistent. I know that that is definitely one of the better things that helps with
Yeah.
visibility is being consistent on your launching your episodes. But just give us a little bit of insight on what are the things that really make or break a podcast
Yeah.
and getting it in front of people. Because I think ultimately, whether we monetize it or not, we really want to get in front of people. So, how do we do that well?
Well, first thing, I think that everybody should go into podcasting thinking about monetizing it, whether you need the money or not. You don't need the money, you have all the money in the world, great, donate it. But you need to approach this as a business from the first
Yeah.
place, because if not, it's going to be in the hobby category, and hobbies
Mm,
only last so long. Like if you are going to learn how to play, hobbyist guitar player who wants to play, here and there, maybe,
yeah.
and then on and off in their life. And then there's somebody that's going to do it for the rest of their life, and they're going to increasingly learn new songs, maybe get in front of larger audiences little by little. It doesn't mean you
Mm-hmm.
have to be super aggressive with your monetization, but if you're not thinking of a plan to monetize from the beginning, whether you need it or not, chances are you're going to quit. And I know some people are going to listen to that and be like, I'm not going to quit. Yes, you are. You're going to quit. It's okay.
Mm. It's a lot
Because
of work.
ultimately, well, you can only do something for free for so long.
Yeah.
Like just period. It's not gonna happen if you're doing it for free for so long. It's just what year one, year two, year 10, year 20. Like at what point do you just say, oh yeah, this is silly, or does something else come in, into your life that is potentially the new shiny toy, right? So that's where I
Mm,
think about it, is you should go into it thinking of monetizing. The second thing is you mentioned being consistent. I agree with being consistent, but in my opinion, it's more important to be memorable. Like I want to be
mm,
memorable. And I'll give you an example of a show that we're working on right now. It's called It Starts With You, and that's YOO for the you portion. And I'll show you an example of like some promo that we created. So look at these little, for the people at home, you can't see this, that are listening in audio, you can't see this, but I'll describe it. It's a smiley face. And for the mouth, it says it starts with you, and then the you is YOO. Now we created these. The show host, she's super talented. Her name's Anna Yu, and she comes from an education background, and she wanted to create a show on dating, mental wealth, really overall wellness and lifestyle. And she's out of LA. And in looking at what was going to be make it memorable for her, I personally, for the Mission Matters shows, I give out a little poker chip, and on that little poker chip, it has my head, and it also has my the podcast cover on it. Now, for me, I don't know, being a male, because I play Vegas a lot.
yeah.
I do a lot of interviews in Vegas, so that's I've given away thousands of those, and those things are memorable. I gave one away last week at the Milken conference, and I gave it to the person, and this is on my Instagram right now. Ask Adam Torres, and the gentleman, his name is Gary. His wife, she made a comment. She's like, "Oh, I already got one. I keep finding these because I see you at different events, and every purse I change for different event, it seems to have one of your poker chips." So I said, "Well, here goes another one for this purse that you're carrying today." So,
I
like
love that.
that's what's called being memorable
Yeah.
versus consistent. You can consistently put out stuff that nobody listens to, and you can pray that like the algorithm or SEO, or you're going to get better, or somebody's going to sell you the next like item to buy that's going to be good for your internet marketing. Okay.
Mm,
And by the way, if you're at a certain like quantity of episode downloads, like let's just say that you're already getting, 1,000 downloads per episode, and you're like, oh, I need to do more in promo, and I maybe need to invest some money. But let's say most of the people I talk to, when they tell me, how can I grow my show? They're usually at like 50 downloads per episode. And I'm like, all right, if you're at 50 downloads per episode, then is your mom listening to it? Is your cousin? Is your brother? Does your uncle? Like, does your other cousins? Do you have any
yeah.
family? Did you go to college? If you did, did you pledge a fraternity, a sorority? Like, who is your immediate network that cares about you? Like that's who you want to go after first, especially if you're kind of at that, 20 to 50 downloads per episode. It just means nobody knows you even have a show. So you're not even at the
Mm.
point of thinking about actually investing money to promote because why? Like you still have this audience around you that wants to listen. So there's so many other things you can do. So for Anna, we just literally I think she has 3 episodes up now. Maybe there's another 10 or so recorded. And so right now we're already working on the plan and the strategy to build a community around her show and around and some of the similar things that we've done in Mission Matters in terms of holding events and giving out promo and being present at certain types of events because we ultimately want her and her show to be memorable. We don't want to just be like, oh, Anna is the queen of consistency. For 10 years, she released a show a week. That will be very nice and she will have a huge show if she does that. But if she does that and isn't memorable, it's kind of like, okay, it's not going to have the full success that it possibly could,
Mhm.
is the point.
Okay. So you talk about like the little stickers, and do you have somewhere that you love working with that can create things like that? Is that what y'all do with your agency, or where do
We
you come
don't
up with those
for well
ideas?
we don't print stickers, I'll say, but
Mm-hmm.
for our shows as we develop them and as we're distributing them, like we do look at each host and we look at what their their branding looks like, what their niche is going to be. I have another
Mm-hmm.
show host, his name is David Shaft. He's out of Michigan, out of Detroit, big auto industry, things like that. So he actually goes on site to things like the auto show, the Detroit Auto Show, and he'll
Mm-hmm.
do interviews there. So that's a completely different type of strategy because
Yeah.
he's working that Detroit market and he's trying to grow that like local crowd before continuing. We have another show host, just to give another more examples.
Mm-hmm.
Patrice Bonfiglio, she's the host of the Burnout Club, and so she's really big in the hedge fund space. I mean, remarkable woman. She's been leading. I think her title might be off, but she basically president and or CEO of a pretty big fund. And I might be slightly off in the title, but for that male dominated type of profession, specifically hedge funds, and she's been in that
Yeah.
space like 20 years or over 20 years. She's absolutely remarkable in what she's done. And so her podcast called The Burnout Club is all about like obviously high performers and burnout and how to not burn out and like tips and things you can learn when you're in a high performing field so that you can stay longer, right? And be healthy and have healthy
Yeah.
relationships and families. So what we've done with her is she's been partnering. She's out of Connecticut, so she's been
Mm-hmm.
partnering with business owners and doing some live podcasting and events at literally the local business owners. Why? Because she wants to. She has, I believe, I don't know if it's 1 or 2 children, but like she takes her kids to certain events and things like that, and all the moms get together. They know her, she knows them. She's actually invited some of her mom group onto the show. So that's how you're memorable. Like she's not, we don't have her obsessed with, okay, you have to go after some random TikTok audience in a country that you don't necessarily aren't going to anyway because we need to get you some vanity metrics. Nah, that's not what
Yeah.
we really want to do. We want to make sure she's memorable. The right people are listening to her content,
Mm-hmm.
so that as her catalog builds, and if anybody's wants to check it out, the Burnout Club on with Patrice Bonfiglio is on YouTube. You'll see it, and based on that strategy. It's on YouTube, it's on Spotify, Apple, all that good stuff, of course. But you look at her strategy, and you can see the systematic build, and you can just tell, like in 5 years, this show is gonna be a juggernaut. It's gonna be insane what she's gonna do.
That's awesome. So for someone that they've kind of already got a little skin in the game and they've already got some episodes behind, do you recommend that they continue on that trajectory or start over? Like, what is the best way if they're less than 50 downloads?
Yeah. I would think about when this happens, I would look at the promo side of things and who
Mm-hmm.
you're bringing on the show. Like ultimately, because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes what'll happen is, and I've seen this too, and I did this myself, by the way, early on in my career, is bring people on that weren't necessarily going to promote. So if somebody's going to come on the show, like even when we were talking, Karen, in the warm up here, I was like, okay,
Right.
the first thing I'll let you know is let's not get off the line because I'm going to put this on my Instagram story, Ask Adam Torres. And I have a little featured interview section that everybody can check out. And if you click on that little featured interview bubble, then you're going to see all the shows and all the different hosts that I want to promote. So you got to kind of also think about like, who you're bringing on the show. Like it does matter. Numbers matter. If somebody's in my early days, you had a pulse, you were coming on my show.
Yeah.
You had a pulse. You had a pulse. You
Yeah,
were
because
coming
you've
on my
done
show.
thousands of episodes.
Over 6,000 episodes. So in the early days, probably the first 1,500 to 2,000 episodes, if you had a pulse, you were getting on the show. Now it's a little bit different. Now it's a little bit different. We had over 30,000 applications last year to come on the show. This year, very likely we'll have over 40,000. So it's a little bit different. So, but I would say that you want to think about who you're bringing on the show, but
Mhm.
I don't want you to think about it for where most people go. Most
Okay.
people, when I say that, they take that as maybe the conversations I'm having aren't good enough and maybe they're not interesting
Mm,
enough. No, I'm talking strictly about promotion. So for example, Karen, you have 100 episodes under your belt. If your
right.
show, and I'm not calling you out, I'm just saying this very rhetorically, if
Right.
your show in terms of downloads isn't where you want it to be, then in your mind, it needs to go from you already got your processes, you got your core audience, you got all that. Like that's all done. It's only going to build from there. Now you switch your mindset. In the past, and my guess is, and this is what happens to most people, if you don't have the downloads you want, in the past, it was probably 90% recording and finding guests and things like that, and 10% promotion. Now
Yes.
you want to flip that. Now it's, especially if you're not you, but if anybody's listening to this and they're uncomfortable with that piece of it, now you
Mhm.
want to flip it. What if I told you only 10% should be recording and 90% should be promotion?
Yeah.
That's the next step because you can do this in your sleep. I'm not worried. Like in your show, you got 100 guests already. You done. I'm not worried about your show. Not worried about your content. Not worried about you being able to ask a question. Not worried about your branding. I see the blue. I see rock movers. You have a great concept. A great basis and foundation of a community. Now it's about like thinking about it from the standpoint of not for you, but for anybody if they're in the exact same spot of how do we build a community around this? How do we add more value? Because when you're adding
Right.
value, the money comes. And it does, and I don't know what that is for you, but for us, part of us adding value was, for example, we became podcast producers for other shows. That only happened in the pandemic. We weren't doing shows for other people until the pandemic because
Okay.
before that, my traveling or my interviewing and things like that, that was a big portion of our revenue. But then when all the conferences were closed, guess what? People started asking us, can you help us launch a show? So we found new
Yeah.
ways to add value. So in your case, it'd be like, okay, what do rock movers want? What do they need? Like, how can I add value? And obviously you have your core business, but over and above that, what else can you do? Who can you partner with? Who can you collaborate with? How can you make more noise?
I love that. So, what does that look like for your clients? Like the burnout. Like, what are ways that y'all promote her so that
So we're
because
looking
we
at
talked about
things
like a
like,
community and
yep.
things. Like, what are
So
other
we're
things that people
looking
should
at
consider?
So we're looking at things like in-person conferences, putting
Hmm.
yourself into very, you mentioned that you were, I believe, a consultant as well, Karen. Is that right?
So I'm currently I'm a coach. So in the
Coach? Okay.
past, yeah, I came from a finance background, so that's what I did
So what's
in
your
my
core
past
type
life.
of clientele for your coaching? And then so I can answer your question super
Sure,
specific.
absolutely.
And we can
So,
develop it real quick right now for you. Go ahead.
okay, real live, you guys are seeing this done.
Let's do it.
Um, so so I primarily work with professional women, very similar to what the burnout, but mine is about the imposter syndrome, the conversations in our head that keep us stuck. So mine's taking someone from being stuck and insecure to confident and clarity.
Mm. So now, if I'm looking at who can you add value and how can they add value to you too,
Hmm.
I would, and you might want to write this down, I would make a list of women's conferences that have your potential clientele there. I
Okay.
would start with a list, step one. Step two, if you don't already have one, I would create a media kit. Step
Hmm.
three, if you haven't done this yet, I would reach out to those conferences and say you'd like to cover it as media and that you'd like to be a media partner. And now what that
Okay.
does is that allows you to connect and to get access to their audience and to create content that their audience is going to consume. And then also, this is the part where if something's easy or convenient or not, then other people are probably going to do it too. So if it's something's hard and it's rough, like you'll be the
Yeah.
only one there. I'm the only podcaster at any of these conferences I go to, and I'm going to conferences and I'm covering this media with thousands of people there. I'm giving out poker chips. I'm with my QR code on it. I'm directing traffic, and I'm seeing every year by year the show grows. but I'm doing the work. But I'm also
Yeah.
picking up clients too. So the key here is that if you when you go and you cover this event, let's say you have I'll give you a great one, Power Up Conference. That's by Gloria Felt. Gloria Felt does that once a year in Washington, D.C. I was at the one last year. We published a book with Dr. Nancy O'Reilly, and Gloria Felt was one of the co-authors in that book last year. And actually, we have a book release that we're going to be doing at the Roosevelt House in New York in June. And so, just
Wow.
for example, now a conference like that, or any other conference like that, they need promo too. There's no more local media that's going out there, right?
So when you
Who's
say
what? How do
covering it
you?
as media, I think what the layman hears is like a news reporter and they write it up and it's in the newspaper. So what does that look like for a podcaster?
You go on site and you do an interview and you
Just
promote the conference. It's the
with
same thing you're
anybody?
doing. You are media. It can
Okay.
be the conference organizer. It can
Hmm.
be one of their speakers. It could be their VIP. So you are media, Karen. You have the only difference between what you're doing now and in the past is in the past you would have had to pay for a license to put up a radio tower, right?
Right. Yeah.
And so sometimes people don't respect, not saying you, but sometimes people don't respect their own craft because it's easier. Because you didn't have to put up a radio tower. You didn't have
Yeah.
to
You don't
invest
have to have
millions
a
of
physical
dollars.
building and all
But
that.
you are
Yeah.
media. Do you not have an
Okay.
outlet? Do you not broadcast? Do you not have a following? Do you not have access to do what you're doing now and the skill set? Yes, you do. You're 100 episodes in.
Okay.
So all you need to do is create the media kit and send it out. And not everybody's going to say yes, by the way. Like in the
Right.
beginning, when I first started sending out media kits, they were like, who are you? Ah. But it's okay. Some of those same conferences now, I don't necessarily have time to go to. And now we're
Right.
covering bigger conferences. I covered FII Priority in Miami maybe a month or so ago. And I mean, the president was the opening keynote. Elon Musk was there and all the top CEOs from TikTok, Eric Schmidt from Google, like you name it, they're all there. And little baby Mission Matters, we were there too, all right, with Yahoo
That's
Finance
awesome.
and Bloomberg and everyone else. That's 9 years
Congratulations. That's
later, but
huge.
thank you so much. But you've done 100 episodes. That's huge. Now it's just changing your mind just slightly
Mm.
to frame it differently and think about it like I know you have your core businesses, and this is another thing, another
Right.
passion of yours to do 100 episodes, period. Like I'm not,
Yeah.
all
No, I
respect to that. But
absolutely
now if
love
you
it.
start
But
wrapping your head around like, how do I make some money off this thing? How do I do this? How do I
mhm,
do that? It changes what you do, and then it also changes your mindset from it too. Then you start doing things like this. Okay, I'm gonna go cover this conference. I didn't have to pay for the ticket. I didn't have to pay for the booth. Why? Because I'm a media partner. I'm gonna
right.
go do 3 interviews, but I'm still gonna have to pay for a plane ticket, probably still gonna have to pay for my hotel. So now I'm out of 2 grand, right? You're like, okay,
Right.
2 grand investment. But I'm gonna be in front of 500 women that could possibly use my service. So if I close X amount of those, how much money did I just make from that conference?
Right.
That's the way to start thinking about it and integrating it into your business. And then once you do that once, and let's say you 2x or 3x or 5x your money, what are you trying to do? Again, you're like, what other conferences can I do this with, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So
and then and
brilliant. I
then what
love this.
happens year over
Mhm.
year? Year over year. Think about that. Those same
You're
women,
building
many
your
of them are going to
reputation.
attend again, right? And they're
Mhm.
going to see you again, and you're going to have like Anna has, for example, her little sticker, her smiley face sticker at it starts with you. She's going to be handing those things out for years. People are going to be like, "Oh, I still got this. Oh my gosh, it's on my laptop." Now you're not just consistent, you're memorable.
Yeah. Love it. Love it. Love it. Okay. So help me think of, so mine is rock movers. The first thing that comes to my mind that would be memorable, and this is because I was given this during my coaching certification, is a rock. On one side, it has, like a negative word. And when I'm struggling, turn it over and it's like, you get curious on what's on the other side. So
Oh,
it's
that's
like,
great.
like
And you get it
positive and
engraved?
negative.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's great. And you get it engraved. I like that. The only thing I would throw out on there, that's a really
Yeah.
cool and a really memorable thing.
What
As
else?
long as you could maybe engrave your handle or something like that. There's got to be
Yeah.
something that like, because you're not going to be able to get, like, for example,
So like
Anna
one
on
would be
hers.
like move the rocks, hashtag rock movers, and then the other side would be, like the negative thought or something.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know.
something that's going to direct them to your channel. So with
Oh
Anna's,
yeah.
where it's key is that the smiley face is it starts with you. last name
Mhm.
YOO, which is her last name. With my poker chip, there's a QR code on it. So you
Yeah.
have to have a call to action. They don't want to just be like, oh, this nice lady that gave me a
Yeah.
hashtag. They're not going to look you up with that. So you got to like, I like where your head's
Okay.
going, but you have to, and it's got to be something probably light enough to where you can carry a bunch of them.
Yeah.
So it could be a different type of sticker. It could be a coaster. I like coasters. Coasters are good ones. People keep coasters. I've handed out thousands of coasters, and I've had people come back up to me like, "I still got your coaster. It's in my garage. I got it." I'm like, "Cool, thanks, man."
That's funny. Okay. So, what are your favorite things to do? Like the things that most people keep? Because we do get a lot of stuff at conferences, especially when we all get that bag and you kind of just toss everything that's in it. So, what are the most,
Keychains, poker
yeah.
chips, pins. I keep pins many times if it's well
Okay.
designed. Those are cool. Those are
And
my
like a
favorite ones.
PIN or a PEN that you write with?
Both.
Okay. Okay. These are such great. I can't believe
They're
we're already
practical.
25 minutes in, Adam. Like,
They're
how did this call go so
practical.
fast? Yeah, it's so practical. So, for someone
Yeah.
that's listening to this and they're at whatever pace or level of their business, they're hearing this and this just such practical. What is the best way for them to connect with you to just, get this kind of clarity for themselves?
Love it. Just really easiest way is just go to Instagram, ask Adam Torres. You're going to see a link there. I would argue that on that link, we give out more free content, more free items than any other media outlet of our size on the planet. Like, there's just no way. We have free ebooks on launching podcasts. We got free ebooks on writing a bestseller, getting published. We have ton of other things there, other books that we publish. We got newsletters, we got whatever. Ask Adam Torres on Instagram or TikTok or really wherever. You go on YouTube, just put in Ask
Okay.
Adam Torres and you'll see more of me than you ever want to see in your life. So it's okay.
Okay. Well, if you're listening to this, Torres is with an S. So I know sometimes
Oh,
it's
that's
spelled with a
great.
Z.
TORRES. I didn't even know that. Yeah, there you go.
Yep. So I went to school with a couple of Torres that they spelled it with a Z. So just to clarify, it's a S.
Awesome.
And we will put all of course, his links in the show notes so you can get connected. But what's one final mic drop tidbit gold nugget that you want to leave our listeners with?
Authenticity. When you're telling your story, don't try to be something you're not. Don't try to like just lead with who you are. There's enough audience out there. There's enough people
Yeah.
out there. If you're terrible at podcasting in the beginning, just say that. Hey, I know that I'm on episode 3. I'm really bad at this, but stick in there with me. I'm gonna get better, and I appreciate you listening in. You know how many times I started the show with that? Like, it's all good. And then
I
when
think,
people would tell me my editing or all the other stuff was wrong, I said, hey, it's okay. Like, listen to it again and let me know
yeah.
if the next episode sounds better. They'd listen and be like, no, Adam, the audio stuff. I'm like, all right, well, if the audio, listen to the next one. All I was trying to do is get the download. I wasn't changing anything. So,
Yeah.
so be a shameless promoter, especially if you're out there with you, like you, Karen, with 100+ episodes, man, be a shameless promoter and get it done.
I love that. I think that's where I definitely see so many of us get stuck is we do focus on the wrong 90%. I think that's huge insight for me today. But also, has anybody watched Joe Rogan's first episode? I mean, come on.
No, who knows? Who knows?
Like his first episode was awful. So if he can start there and end up where he's at, we can all do it. There's hope for everybody.
I love it. I'm in.
All right, Adam. Thank you so much. This has been just amazing. Different episode for us, different conversation, but definitely a big rock that those who love podcasting, and if you're listening to this, you are a podcast lover. Whether you admit it or not, you are a podcast lover. So we just want to help you in any way. If you're a coach, if you're a speaker, you need to have a podcast. That's just another way for you to get your message, your mission out to the people who need you. And so if you're not doing it now, connect with Adam. You've got great resources that we've had on this podcast to help you at different phases of whatever it is that you're doing. But you just got to get in front of people. And as Adam said, just start where you are and get going. But the best way to shortcut the curve is to get help, professional help. And Adam seems like a fabulous resource. I can't wait to learn from all the things. So thank you for being here today, for sharing your message and just doing what you're doing. The mission is amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Karen. Appreciate it and keep up the great work.
Awesome. We'll see you guys on the next episode of the Rock Movers. Just know that we love you and keep moving those rocks. Wow, wasn't today's guest amazing? I hope that you enjoyed them as much as I did, and I hope that you got something super valuable. And I also want to know, what are you getting from this? What would you like to see? What are future episodes? Who do we need to be talking to? Who has some amazing rocks that they want to share? And that's by sharing, commenting, and subscribing to the Rock Movers, and then following me over on social media. We want to stay connected. We want to be a part of your world, and I want to invite you to be a part of mine. If you'd like to book a call, go a little bit deeper into some of these topics, you can find a link to book that call on CoachKarenGray.com. You're always invited to join me there, and I can't wait to dive into deeper conversations with you. That's my way of giving back and saying thank you for being a part of our rock moving community. Until the next episode, or until we jump on the call, have a great day and keep moving those rocks.